Hello everyone. Myself Shreya Gulgulia is going to present before you the fifth lecture of Medieval India series. In this lecture, we are going to talk about Qutubuddin Aibak's life. Muhammad Ghori had no male successors to inherit his empire, hence his nephew Ghiyasuddin ascended the throne of Ghor after his death in AD 1206. Aibak was one of his faithful and trusted slave officers. He inherited his Indian empire after the death of Muhammad Ghori. Early career of Aibak. Qutubuddin Aibak was born in Turkestan. He was taken as a prisoner in his childhood and by Qaji of Nishapur named Fakhruddin. Fakhruddin provided him education and military training. But soon after the death of Qaji, his son sold Aibak to Muhammad Ghori. He was well versed in Islamic theology, horse riding, and swordsmanship. Owing to his skill and qualities, he soon attracted the attention of his master and was appointed as a commander of a troop. When Ghori invaded India, Aibak came with him and helped Ghori during his wars. Ghori was immensely pleased with him and he appointed him the governor of Indian Empire. Aibak added power and prestige to the infant Muslim empire by his labor and intelligence. Achievements of Aibak as a commander. After the Second Battle of Tarin, Aibak was appointed as Viceroy of India and Aibak added to Ghori's empire. In 1193, Aibak occupied Delhi by defeating the Tomar ruler. He also made Delhi the capital of Turkish Empire. In the same year, he gained victory against Meerut and Bulandshahr. In 1196, Aibak conquered Bayana. In 1197, Aibak conquered Ahilyawada, who was ruled by Chalukyas, and the king of Chalukyas at that time was Bhimadev. In 1198 AD, Aibak occupied Badun, and in 1199, Aibak occupied Banaras. In 1202 AD, Aibak invaded Bundelkhand against the Chandelas, and the king of Chandelas at that time was Parmari Dev. Accession of Qutubuddin Aibak to the throne of Sultan. In AD 1206, on his way to Ghajni, Ghori breathed his last. His empire was inherited by his slaves as he had no son to succeed him. To achieve, and Aibak has the intention to achieve the title of Sultan. To achieve his mission, he adopted the policy of matrimonial alliances. He gave his daughter to Iltutmish and his sister to Nasruddin Kubacha. In marriage, he himself married to the daughter of Yaldos. Thus, he tried to establish sweet relation with all powerful persons of his times so that his position could be strong. He also requested Ghiyasuddin, the nephew of Ghori, to recognize him as an independent ruler. Ghiyasuddin accepted his request and sent him the royal insignia and also bestowed on him the title of Sultan. Having ascended the throne of Delhi, Qutubuddin Aibak found himself surrounded with many problems. His crown was not a bed of roses and he had to face the following difficulties in order to keep his position intact. So now move to our next topic, difficulties faced by Aibak. Yaldos had already occupied Ghazni and wanted to establish his empire over India. After the death of Muhammad Ghori, Nasruddin Kubacha became independent ruler of Sindh and Multan. It added to lot to his prestige and power. He also wanted to establish his control over parts of India. So he was one of the great obstacles in the way of Aibak. Ali Mardan Khan had established his supremacy in Bengal after killing Ikhtiaruddin Khilji. In those days, the power of nobles and officials had also increased much. They had the control over administration and army. It was therefore necessary for Aibak to establish a strict control over these nobles and officials. Although Muhammad Ghori and Aibak had endeavored a lot to crush Rajput and establish the Muslim empire in India, still the Rajputs were hoping to establish a Hindu empire. They had recaptured many provinces, they had stopped the payment of annual tribute and declared their independence. It shook the position of Aibak in India. Neither Ghori nor Aibak could look to the internal conditions of the country, as they remained busy in their expeditions. They actually had no time to look after the work of organization and consolidation of empire. Just after the accession of Qutubuddin Aibak, anarchy, disorder, and chaos prevailed in entire northern India. Hence, it became essential to establish peace and order in the infant Muslim empire in order to keep empire safe and secure. The northwest frontier had always been a source of constant invasions through the medieval history. Aibak also knew this fact, and this is why he is afraid of Sultan of Khwarezm or Ghazni might attack India through this way. It was therefore necessary for Aibak to safeguard the country from northwest frontier. Achievements of Qutubuddin Aibak. Although Aibak was confronted with various problems of intensive nature, he faced them all with courage, bravery, and far-sightedness. After becoming the ruler of India, he passed his time in crushing the revolts, struggling against the opponents, and in solving other problems. First of all, he consolidated his position in Delhi and Lahore and then persuaded the Turkish nobles to recognize his sovereignty. His matrimonial policy further strengthened his position. Tajuddin Yaldos. The entire period of the reign of Aibak passed in his struggle. Yaldos and Kubacha were his deadliest foes. They regarded themselves equivalent to Aibak and never paid respect to him. Yaldos, being the Sultan of Ghazni, regarded himself to the ruler of Delhi as well. Although Aibak endeavored to maintain sweet relation with him, yet when he tried to establish himself in Punjab, being driven from Ghazni by Aram Shah, he sent an army against him and defeated Yaldos. Chasing Yaldos, Aibak reached Ghazni and occupied the throne of Ghazni and ruled Ghazni for 40 days. Aibak could not rule over Ghazni for a long time, but he created terror in the heart of Yaldos, and he could not again rise against the ruler of Delhi. Thus, Aibak saved the newly founded Muslim empire from decline and separated it from politics of Central Asia. Rajputs. Aibak did not adopt policy of extinction and rather he resorted to the policy of consolidation. Owing to his short period of reign, he failed to pay attention towards the Rajputs, who were trying to throw off the Muslim slavery. No doubt they were a threat to existence of Aibak, but he was so much absorbed in the politics of northwest frontier that the Rajputs remained safe and secure against any punitive action. Death of Aibak. Aibak ruled only for 4 years as an independent sultan. In AD 1210, while playing Chaugan or horse polo, he fell down from his horse and received serious head injury and ultimately resulted in his death. He was buried at Lahore. An assessment of Qutubuddin Aibak. Qutubuddin was the real founder of Muslim dominion in India because all the consolidation was done by Qutubuddin Aibak, and he also strengthened the infant Muslim empire. Aibak not only saved the newly established Muslim empire from the politics of Central Asia but also organized it properly and well. He also consolidated his own position by establishing matrimonial alliances with the rival nobles and chiefs. Aibak was a competent soldier and a leader of highest merit. He was a practical ruler and a successful diplomat. Aibak was also benevolent. Qutubuddin Aibak was kind and benevolent to the people. He was very liberal and charitable also. He would give charity to the people very liberally, and therefore he earned the title of Lakh Baksh. Lakh Baksh is a person who gives lakhs of rupees in charity. Besides this, he was a patron of art and literature. He built 2 great mosques, one at Delhi and other at Ajmer, Quwat-ul-Islam at Delhi and Ard Haydin Ka Jhopra at Ajmer. He also started the construction of Qutub Minar in AD 1199, which is dedicated to Sufi Sant Qutubuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. The construction of Qutub Minar was completed during the reign of Iltutmish. Aram Shah. The ultimate untimely death of Qutubuddin Aibak came like a bolt from the blue, and it created chaos and confusion among his followers. The issue of succession was yet to be decided. The nobles of Lahore seated his son Aram Shah on the throne, but he was a weak person. The word Ban Aibak after the name of Shah gives the impression that he was the son of Aibak. This word is used in the book Tabaqat-e-Nasiri. Whereas Minhaj and another historian claims that Aibak has only 3 daughters. Some historians hold the opinion that he, being the only weak person available, was placed on the throne by nobles for sake of restraining tumult, so that by the time a proper successor was discovered, he could be replaced without any difficulty. Thus, his disqualification became his best qualification, and he could rule for some months as a Sultan of Delhi. The nobles of Delhi realized that a strong and a competent person was needed at the throne of Delhi at this critical juncture. So, after a lot of consideration, they invited Iltutmish to the throne of Delhi. When Iltutmish reached Delhi and assumed sovereign powers, Aram Shah marched against Iltutmish, and a war was fought between Iltutmish and Aram Shah at Zud. And Iltutmish achieved victory. Aram Shah was put to death after defeat or imprisoned and died in imprisonment, and Iltutmish was made the king. The PDF of this lecture is available on my Telegram channel. Link of the same is given in description box below. I hope you liked the lecture. If you liked, then please share it with others. Thank you.